Hello students. So today the topic that we have with us is cattle farming. We need to particularly talking about how we are going to deal with the cattle farming in our Indian subcontinent. So whenever we talk about the cattle farming, we are particularly talking about the raising of cattle, which is for the milk, the meat and their skin as well, and for various agricultural tasks like tilling, irrigation and carting. So milk and meat is something which you are very much aware of that we are using like cattle like for the what you can say for our food production. But in terms of skin, what I can say is skin is something which is very much useful in terms of the leather production. Okay, and there are also usage for them in the clothing industry as well, textile industry as well, obviously, which is related to the leather as well. So this is how we utilize the skin. And in terms of agriculture, you know that irrigation is a very important aspect. Carting is like carrying something from one place to another is also important. Tilling is also very important. Now, when I talk about cattle farming, we are talking about the rearing of cows, buffaloes, bullocks, camels, and goats. I mean, these are like common elements that we found in the Indian subcontinent, and this is something we use as in cattle farming. Now, whenever we talk about these animals, we utilize a certain breed. Okay, it's not like all the animals are present everywhere. Every region has a different type of a breed, and breed plays a very important part. So, what is a breed? It is a group of domestic animals having a homogeneous appearance and other characteristic that distinguish from other animals of the same group. So, as I told you, different regions have a different breed. So if you are going to the UK, that is United Kingdom, you will find different bulls, you will find different buffaloes, you will find different cows. Again, completely different cattle farming is there because of the appearance of the animal, because of the characteristic they have. And coming to Indian subcontinent, they have something different characteristics. Okay, so that is how we decide the breed. Now, if I talk about the breeds, we can broadly place them into the following categories. That is the milk breed or dairy animals. Milk breed is something what you can say is just kept for the milk. That's how you can remember. And particularly we use the females here. The females of the milk breed are kept for milk, which include cows, buffaloes, goats, camels. And as you know that milk is something which is very important for growing children. Like it is almost a complete food for them. Whereas if we talk about drought breeds, so these are like animals which reared for the plowing field and transporting goods. Okay, and these are males generally, not the females, like the bullocks, horses, and mules. And common indigenous drought breeds that we have seen in our country is Nagiri, Halikar, and Malvi that we found and we utilize them. Then we have dual purpose breed or general utility breeds. Again, dual purpose means utilizing as milk breeds as well as the drought breeds. So here males are good as drought animals, females as good as milk forms. And the indigenous breeds of dual breeds are Ongol, Haryana, Tharparkar. So these are like common breeds that we have. In terms of particularly, I talk about cows. So for cows, we have indigenous breeds like local breeds like Sahiwal, Gir, Red Sindhi, and Tharparkar. Whereas in terms of exotic, which are imported from abroad, like they are not present in India, we import them and then rear in India. So we have Jersey from USA, Holstein Friesian from Holland, and Brown Swiss from Switzerland. And then we have a cross breeds as well, which is like improved breeds having the characteristic of indigenous and exotic. So here we have Karan Swiss, Karan Fries, and Frieswald. So if I tell you how we decide that, so you can see here the example of Karan Fries, which is a crossbreed between the Holstein Friesian, which is a Holland breed of what you can say cattle or particularly the cow, and then you have Tharparkar, which is in India. So we cross them, selecting a certain characteristic which is best suited, and we utilize them. Whereas if you talk about the breed of buffalo, so first of all, the difference between the cows and buffaloes are potentially the most productive animals. Also because of their long productive life of over 20 years, and they are the major source of milk in the country, I can say. Okay, they give you the or also the milk that they give, I can say here is much more productive, much more good for our health. Okay, like if I talk about buffalo's milk, so it is superior to the cow's milk because of the good quality of carbohydrate, fat, protein, minerals like phosphorus and calcium, and vitamins and B6, B12, and vitamin C. So you can understand that how good they are. Also, the milk of buffalo have all of these good products in them, and that is why it is ideal for making milk products such as khoa, rabri, paneer, curd, ghee, cream, etc. And if I talk about the milk yielding breeds of buffaloes that we have in our country, like high milk yielding, so we have Murrah, we have Mehsana, we have Surti, we have Zafarabadi. All of these species are present in the different region. Like if I talk about Surti, it is present in Rajasthan. If I talk about Jafarabad, you will find them in Punjab and Gujarat as well. And so does Murrah and Mehsana. So depending upon the region. Now, breeding of the cattle of desired quality is depending upon the characteristic. Usually what happens is that our Indian milk breeds or the milk breeds, I can say here, are basically giving the average of 6 to 8 liters of milk, whereas exotic breeds give 60 liters of milk per day. So you can understand the huge difference. The lactation period of exotic breeds is also longer than an indigenous breed, means how long they can give the milk. But the thing is, since these indigenous breeds are adapted to the local environment, so they are more resistant to the diseases which are local and better adapted to the Indian conditions. I can say, like in Holland, it is more towards the North Pole, so they have more colder climate, and then India is a tropical country. So adaptation plays a very important part. So when we do the crossbreed, we make sure that we got the best characters of indigenous and exotic, and utilize both the characters. So for that, what are the things that we look at? We look at lactation period, we look at reproductive period, because reproductive period will actually decide the lactation period. Nutritional requirements, adaptation to climatic conditions, disease resistance, and so does the journal. So these are like common parameters that we always take care of. Then comes the methods of breeding, like how we can actually do the process of crossbreeding. So one is like a natural breeding. You just bring them together and they will naturally do the process of fertilization, like crossbreeding of indigenous cows with the bulls of high milk yielding exotic breeds of foreign breeds by mating. Natural again. That is like a traditional method. Okay, but then the new method is a artificial insemination, which is like the recent one we are using. So here we are injecting the semen, which is obtained from the desired bull, and then inserted into the genital tract or the vagina of the desired cow. Obviously, the female cow will produce the young one, so obviously she will be the one who will give the milk as well. So here what you do, you will collect the semen from a healthy male of a milk breed, then you preserve the semen by deep freezing or by chemical methods, because obviously if you don't have the cattle within your proximity, then you have to bring that semen, and then you have to introduce the semen into the vagina of chosen female during its maximum fertility period. And this is how you can, or I can say, artificial insemination is widely used to improve the quality of cows, buffaloes, poultry, horse, sheep, goats, and pigs. It is something which is common to all the cattle farming. I can say all the farm animals that are involved in the cattle farming. And what is the advantages of artificial insemination? It will give you the good quality progeny. It is more reliable than the natural method of breeding, because breeding here, I'm sorry, because you are making sure when to utilize that. It is much more cheaper because semen is in coming in a vial. Again, you don't have to bring the whole bull, and it is easily to be carried from one place to another. Then semen from one bull can be used to impregnate several thousand cows. Again, the quantity is something which can also utilize it for multiple purpose, in the sense like for multiple cows, I guess. Now here if I talk about the farm management practices, like now you know the whole thing, now you know how to do the cattle farming, now you should know how to take care of them as well. And for that you should know how to provide them good shelter and groom them and their food requirement. For shelter, you should have to make sure that it will be situated in clean and hygienic surroundings. It should be dry and well ventilated with adequate sunlight. It should be spacious to avoid overcrowding, have a proper arrangement for disposal of animal waste, have clean drinking water and protected from cold and heat, and it should have cemented floor with slope for quick drainage. I mean, this will actually stop to accumulate the waste, which will eventually stop the disease formation. Whereas if you talk about grooming of cattle, why grooming is important. So basically, if you do the regular brushing and cleaning, it will remove the dust, loose hair, and external parasite. Also, it will increase the blood circulation and improve health of the animals as well. And also, proper cleaning facilities for cow and buffaloes are required for good health and high production of meat. Because if they are good, obviously they will give you good yield. In terms of food requirement, there are two things that you have to take care of. First is their maintenance requirement, like when they're growing up. So you need to provide the food which are like needed for maintaining normal metabolic activities, which are like just simply providing the good fodder, I can say. Now then you have to take care of the milk producing requirement, like when they are going through the lactation period. So in such cases, in both the cases, I can say you have to provide two things, that is a roughage and concentrate. Roughage is like, as I told you, it forms the bulk of cattle food because they include fodder. So fodder is like having a high concentration of fibrous substance and low nutrient content. Okay, like examples will be the green leguminous fodder like berzen and lucerne, then green non-leguminous fodder which is maize, jowar, dry leguminous fodder which is husk of gram and pea, and non-dry leguminous fodder which is pounded straw of wheat and rice. These are very common ones that we give. And then comes to the concentrate where we particularly provide the high proteins and other nutrients but low in fibers. So where we give the grains and seeds of like cotton, oil seeds and maize and oats. Also we give barley, jowar and gram also. Okay, we also give the oil seed cake and the molasses as well. Other than that, we also provide additive feed, sometimes micronutrient, antibiotics and minerals as well. So obviously this will all promote their growth, facilitate the good of yield of milk and protect the animal from the diseases as well. And this is how you can obviously understand the whole process of cattle farming. I hope this will help you. Thank you.